Welcome everyone to the live stream. Happy Friday to everyone across, wherever you're at. I know there's people from all sorts of places across Canada, United States. I think I even got a few from across the pond, if you will. So thanks for joining me today, and hopefully today we'll have some stuff that will help you. Today is going to be shorter, I think. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I've got a few things planned for you. Jared's online here. Jared, can you hear me and see me okay on the stream?
Yep, sound good. Look good.
All right. Good. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Gary Robillard. I'll be your guide today as we're going through this. We're going to cover a few productivity hacks. That's the kind of the name of the thing today is productivity hacks. And so we're going to touch on a few. So we're coming up with a few venues now as we're kind of building this live stream Casual Friday thing. I had planned to do it every Friday. However, didn't realize how much time it takes to prep for these things. Like, my goodness, it's crazy. So I'm going to be doing two a month. Two Casual Fridays a month, and I will be doing one webinar a month. So that's three live streams, and so that's kind of where we're going to try that out and see how that works. Make sure I'm not killing myself off working late nights trying to put all this stuff together, because it's a lot of work. So just plan on getting emails prior to whether there's a live stream. You'll get it either the morning of or the day before, just mentioning that we're going to be doing a live stream on Friday. And then you'll be getting an email with regards to webinars. And webinars will be a little bit different structure for those of you. We did a pilot webinar. Oh, I think it was last month, wasn't it, Jared? We did the that little pilot one.
No, I think it was last year, late last year.
Was it last year? Anyways,
Version 24.
so we did a pilot one and everything went well. So we had few little bugs to work out, but I think we got that nailed. So it's going to be a little bit different format. You'll register for it, and it's more of a closed thing. It's not public on YouTube. It will be hosted on YouTube, but it will be more of a unavailable to anybody who's not within the webinar. All right. Well, let's why don't we just dive in, Jared? What do you think? Should we just dive in and do some stuff?
Yeah.
All
Good
right.
to learn some tips and tricks.
Learn some tips and tricks, some productivity hacks. Hey, so we're trying something a little different last week. I don't know if you remember last week, we were using Act, and my computer was just chugging, like running all the software, the streaming software, and all the stuff I'm doing there takes up a lot of bandwidth. And this old poor 4-year-old iMac works great, but I was putting it to the test, and so trying to get some longevity out of this until the new iMacs come out this spring, hopefully this spring or early summer. Because I'm hoping that we're going to get a 27 or 30 inch even iMac, and that'll with the new Apple M1 chip. For those of you who are Mac users, I know there's a lot that aren't, and that's fine. So what I'm doing now is this here is actually coming off of our hosting site. So this is a virtual desktop environment. So you can see here it's just like a regular desktop. You've got the Windows and Teams, and I've got my Chrome browser, Brave Chrome browser. Oh, by the way, if anybody, I'm sure those who are on there, anybody who's using Chrome for their browser, just in the comments saying yes, just put yes in the comments that you're using Chrome. I want to see how many people are using Chrome versus Edge versus Firefox, that sort of stuff. I want to know anybody who's using Google Chrome. Just pop it into the comments there saying, just all you have to do is say yes, I'm using Chrome. And the reason I'm putting this out there is that There's a better one. It's called Brave browser, and if you go and search Brave, Brave, and put that in, it is a Chrome browser. So Chrome is a structure, a protocol for browsing. It's kind of like when people used to call snowmobiles skidoos, and they used to, anything that looked like a track and went on the snow, they called it a skidoo, and it really wasn't a skidoo, it was a snowmobile. So Google uses a Chrome infrastructure, so does Brave, but Brave's is more secure. So if you want a good secure Chrome browser, try Brave. I think it's brave.com if I remember correctly. And it kind of looks like this. It's got a little lion's head there. And yeah, there you go. So little hack. Anyways, I hope that sort of thing. If you're looking for security and stuff like that, yeah, I'd be going to the Brave Chrome browser. All right, let's kind of dive in. My first thing that I want to touch about for productivity hack, and I know that a lot of people aren't aware of this, or maybe they've seen it but then just didn't know. Well, how do I apply that? Where's the use case for using this? And it's called an activity series. Now, what's an activity series? It's a cascade of events with a point of start and a point of end, depending upon what you're trying to do. So for an example, if I brought on a new customer and I had an onboarding process saying, okay, this is what we do for new customers. We send them out of this, we do that. And you have a kind of a step process. And if you don't have one, you should really have one. You should have a process for onboarding new clients. It's the welcome wagon thing, right? And then have something that carries on. That's called client retention strategy. And we're going to be doing a webinar, not a live stream like a Friday casual thing, but I'll be doing a live stream on client retention. What are some of the things that you could or should be doing, or at least considering doing in order to retain your existing client base? But today we're going to talk about activity schedule. So this is found under the schedule drop-down menu and down to manage. Now, I can't remember if you need to have certain securities to get into this. And what I mean by that is certain access to certain things in ACT, you need administrative privileges. And being able to just run an activity series, you don't. But I can't remember if going into the activity series template or designing one, you need to have that or not. So you can test that out. I would recommend that not everybody in the company just go out and start doing this and creating this. Maybe have a point person or have a discussion around it before you do it. Planning, this is one of those things you want to plan a little bit, right? And then once you've got it set up, it's going to make your life a little easier. So we're going to create a new activity series, and this one's going to be an onboarding. We're going to do two. The first one is going to be a new client. What happens when we get a new client? So we're going to go next. We're going to give it a name. Okay, so new customer. New customer. Now this details part in here, this is optional. This doesn't come native with ACT. I had Matt program this in. If you want this, reach out to me. I'll show my email address at the end of the live stream. But reach out to me because this is huge. And the reason we put this in there is sometimes you may have items for different people in your organization and you need some instruction. Okay, this is what you do here. These are your step-by-step instructions. And that's why we put the description in there. It's not a huge box, but it scrolls. So you can put whatever you want in there. So I'm going to put in here one. Let's see. This is going to be, let's see, one, send out. Actually, let's just go new customer. Name of this one's a new customer. It's going to be public. We're going to leave the description. You can put in what this is. New onboarding process. All right, activity series already exists. Okay, so we'll call it new customer. I must have done this before. Come on. You're going to be difficult, aren't you? There we are. Onboarding 2. Next. All right. Now here's where we're adding in all of the different types of activities. So we're going to go first one to add. So we're going to say once they become a customer, right? We're going to say, let's say 3 days after the anchor date. Now the anchor date, you can have an anchor date after anchor date or before anchor date. We'll get a little bit more into that. So after anchor date would be the day they become a customer. So when they become a customer, we want to run this series. And duration is going to take, let's just say 5 minutes. And what's this regarding? This is going to be regarding send, thank you, and welcome email. So this is going to be like a welcome email. It's going to be low priority. Let's put a 0-minute alarm. And then here's our details thing. So we could put instructions on here. That first one is details just to talk about it. This details is the one that we added in. My apologies. This is the one that we added in because it didn't have it. I think it had the details on the first one natively in Act, but this one here, if I remember correctly, is the one we put in. So if you want this details where you're giving instructions to the person who's going to receive this, let me know. I can help you out with that. I can hook you up. All right. So we're going to have this scheduled for the person that sends this out is, let's say this is Fred. Fred sends that out. And so this is going to be scheduled for Fred. And then I can put some instructions in here. You know, I'm just going to put blah, 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 because I'm the slowest typer in the world. And I don't want to keep you online looking at me trying to type. So we're just going to go blah, blah, blah. Oh, let's put a space there. We'll copy that. Copy. So you put your blah, blah, blahs. This is your work instructions. And you can do 1, 2, 3, however you want to do it. And then once you've got that one set, you press OK. And then we say, okay, what's going to happen after that 3 days? Okay, so after that 3 days, we're going to do, was that first one a call? Yeah, it was a call. So let's change that from an activity type to a to-do. Okay, so look at, we're getting some artifacts here. I wonder if this is because of the stream. Interesting. There we are. Oh, we'll have to check on this. Again, we're just testing this out with doing a live stream and actually going onto our onto this virtual desktop environment at the same time. We were trying to keep the process down, and it's working. I've got lots of power on the system, but it may be artifacting a few things in here. You are our guinea pigs today. All right, so next one. So we're going to add in there, this is going to be a call, and this is going to be, let's say 1 week let's say 2 weeks after the anchor date. It's going to take about a 10-minute call. It's regarding, it's just a follow-up call. How are things going? And then if you've got any, if you've got any instructions, there's your blah, blah, blah. And we press OK. Now, this would be for, did I press cancel? I did too. Let's try that again. We're going to do a call. We're going to do that 1 week after the anchor date. I'm not going to type that in again, so I'm going to go blah, 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 and press OK. And don't press the cancel key. Next one, we're going to do a let's do another to-do, and this is going to be 1 month after the anchor date, and there's going to be an alarm, and this is a let's just put a blah blah and some instructions, and you can do one. Put some instructions or whatever you want for it. And then this one is actually going to be for someone else. So the person who's, let's just say that Sarah's doing that one. And you kind of get the idea here. You're setting up a bunch of sequence of events that you need to set up for each for anybody who becomes a customer. So then we're going to go next. Do you want to schedule now? No, we're going to go no. So let's just go through our database here. Let's just go pick somebody. Let's pick, let's find someone who has a ID status. We have employees. I don't want to employ. Prospect. Okay, so this one, so we'll just say this person changed from a prospect to a customer. Now, is there a way to, I know there's going to be a question in there. Is there a way when this person changes from this, goes to a customer, will it automatically initiate the activity series? The answer is no. Natively, no. But if you want it to trigger, the answer is yes, we can do it. Little bit of wizardly programming by Matt, and yes, you could choose customer and it will automatically do this for you. It's kind of like a macro. It would actually go up, and it wouldn't actually go up. It would just run this. It would go into here. It would go into activity series. It would say, okay, we're going to do new customer 2, and it would go schedule, and then it'd go yes, and it would do it automatically. So you can have this programmed to do that. It would take a little bit of programming, but not a lot, and it would actually run a trigger for you. Hey Jared, why don't you put that on our meeting for next week to talk about ID status trigger to run an activity series, and maybe instead of a custom program for each person to do it, maybe this is something that Matt can actually just program in a little utility for, just to make it easy. All right, so now to run this, you just see me run it. You just go up to schedule. You're going to go to activity series. You're going to choose from the list the activity series you want, press schedule. That's really all you have to do. And then what's going to happen is down in the activities part, you're going to see all the activities. So you can see one for February 14th, one for the 18th, and one for March 11th. And each one, and you can see, let me just customize this a little bit. And just remember, anytime you see like an Excel spreadsheet look like this, and you see the word options in the top right-hand corner of that section, you can go and customize columns. So we're going to add in schedule for and schedule by. If I can click on this. Okay, note to self, we're not going to be using the VDI in here because obviously there's some conflicting with the stream. Interesting. All right, so you can see this is scheduled for Fred. This one is for Chris himself. He's the one that scheduled it. And then this one is for Sarah. So you can see that it's automatically put out for each one. But let's just say now, I'm going to push back this one on the 14th. I'm going to push it back and say, okay, we're not going to do it on the 14th because, well, hey, that's Valentine's Day. So we're going to do it on the 16th. And we press OK. Now it's going to ask you, do you want to update all the activities or update the series? So you're going to update just the one activity or the series. Well, I want everything to adjust sequentially. So I'm going to press the series. Now watch these dates here. They're all going to change. There you go. They all changed. And so based on changing one can change the cascading ones that are affected by that. Especially if you're closing the gap from one activity to the next and you want to keep that space in between there, then make sure you choose the activity and that can push it forward. I'm going to do one more really quick, but I want to show, we're going to do an event. And so we're going to change it up here. We're going to go in schedule. And we're going to go to activity, we're going to go to manage, activity series template. We're going to go in here to create a new one. Yep. And we're going to go in here, we're going to call this event 1. And then again, you can put in a description in there. And then we're going to add in, so we're going to do in here, we're going to say to do, and let's just say this is going to be 1 month before anchor date. Okay, so the anchor date is going to be the end of, so a month before send out invites. Blah, blah, blah. So this will be send out invites, and this will be done by Juliet. Oh, this is, okay, so that's not gonna, there we are, perfect. And then we go okay, and then I'll just do one more before and then we'll do some after. So the day of the event, let's just say the day of the event, let's just do another to-do, and we definitely are not going to be doing a demonstration with the virtual desktop connection, because they are fighting for bandwidth. That's what's happening here. Look at this. Well, you never know till you test it. Well, because of time here, we're just chewing up a bunch of time here. So let's just do this. We're gonna do one day after the anchor date. So we got a month before you're gonna send it out, and then you're gonna do an after. You're gonna do a thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Blah blah blah. Oops, I copied that. Let's blah blah blah. And this will be done by somebody else. Let's say Jonathan. And press OK. So when I run this activity series, it's actually, I can schedule this activity series for myself. And what it'll do is actually it will tell me to do maybe some stuff and some other people to do some stuff, because we're doing an event. So this can not only be specific with a client, where a client comes on, and there are a lot of use cases for this. For an example, we've got a client in Ontario that is a car leasing company, and they lease cars right across Canada, and they use Activity Series to manage the expiry of that lease is, and so they'll go 6 months before, they'll go a few months after, and they have this whole thing as a person has a new lease, they have an onboarding thing with a thing that tracks both prior to and the end of the lease, and even before they start the lease. They have a bunch of paperwork and things that they have to do. They'll run an activity series for that. So an activity series can be used. The best thing you can do, though, is make sure you sit down and brainstorm on a piece of paper first what it is you want to do with this activity series. How do you want it to run? I will check with Matt to see if we can have a trigger with an ID status, or maybe multiples. We'll see. Other than that, you may have to have maybe just a custom one. You have him do it, and it wouldn't take long, I'm sure, for him to whistle something specific up for you to use as a trigger to actually run this instead of manually doing it. The only reason I mention that is because I personally I'd forget to do it. So I want something automated to do it. So food for thought. All right, and we're not going to do that. So that's the activity series. At least you've got an idea where it's located, how to run it. The biggest thing is have a plan prior to coming on and saying, well, what do you want to do? So if you had, let's say, if you were doing service for somebody and you wanted to do some stuff just prior to service, and then after service you wanted a little activity series thing that ran, you could actually do that. The next thing I want to show you is when I've watched people when they're showing me how they're doing lookups and stuff like that, and I keep forgetting to bring my mic in a little closer. I apologize for that. It seems like I gotten into a bad habit of having my mic far away and then turning up the gain on it, and I forgot to turn up the gain and pull it closer. So anyways, my apologies. So in here, I see people going onto the lookup drop-down menu, and usually these are people who've used ACT for years, and it's because they've gotten into a habit, and they go to look up and they say, okay, I'm going to look up a contact, and then they go contact, and it comes up with this screen, and it says contact, and then the operator default starts with, and then you key in the value. That's fine and good, but that's not very productive, and so here's a recommendation, and they do this for all these other fields too. So for an example, these are some standard fields that they have, and then they go to other fields, and then they go and choose the other field from this drop-down menu, and then they go and do a search from it. There was a place and time for that, but not any longer, and this hasn't been this way for a while now. This area over here on the left-hand side, I usually leave this by default where it says contact, and then in here, you can just type in the person's name. So if I wanted to type in Bill, I can just type in Bill. It's going to go look for anybody whose name with Bill. Or if I wanted to go find Fred, I don't have to type the whole name. I just type in the first name. Maybe there's somebody named Smith. I can't remember his first name. Smith. It was Howard. So you can just key in first name, last name, partials, and it will go and hunt and give you a list if there's more than one that it finds. Anything other than contact, don't go up here and click on the drop-down menu. And this isn't showing up. Oh, it's actually showing up there. It's just not showing up on my screen. Oh, interesting. You can scroll down. Maybe what I'm seeing and what you're seeing are two different things here, folks. I'm just looking at the stream here. You can actually scroll down and choose different fields. I don't recommend that. Leave it here. If you need to look at any other field that you have, any field, whether it's a memo field, whether it's a checkbox, all you have to do is right mouse click over it. So key contacts, I want to find all the key contacts. Right mouse click over this, go look up key contacts, and it's a true false, so I want true, press OK. There's 35 key contacts. If I want to find, let's just put in under Liz here, let's put in here junk, and then let's just go to the end of the database. And we're on somebody else's record and we're saying, oh, we're talking to somebody about junk. Let's just go and look up trivia, and we're going to just type in. And you don't have to do starts with. Make sure if you're doing a memo field, change it to contains. Okay? Because if it starts with, you want junk as the first thing. So just put in, it had something to do with, then just say, it has to contain the word junk. And there it is. And then any other field. So if I'm trying to find a department or a title or a whatever, and they don't have to be on the main screen. They can be on any of the screens that you have here. So user defined, well, in this case, is a demo database. And you'll notice I didn't use my advisor one this time, just to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to build another demo database that I can jump back and forth because there's some other features that I want to show, or other add-ons that we've created that I want to show that are really separate from the advisor platform. But any of these fields, you want to go and do a search, just right mouse click. The only thing when you're doing the right mouse click is decide what the operator is going to be. Do you want it to start with? Usually contains is a good one. Contains data. For an example, I would use contains data if I wanted to look up people who had email addresses. So I want to find all the people who have email addresses because I'm going to send them out something. So go look up email address. I'm going to change this to contains data. Press OK. There's all the guys with email addresses. Let's double check. And let's go down to email. And they all have email addresses. So that's just another little productivity hack that you can use to be able to go through and, well, this is so interesting, guys. I'm getting a latency on my screen where I'm doing it, and I'm watching the actual stream, and it's actually coming up. You're not seeing this, what I'm seeing. I'm seeing some latency on my end, but that's okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do is, let's see. Oh, right, this was one that people had asked about. This particular one, this is where, when you have a contact, I'm just going to jump to companies for a second here. And whether you're in a regular database where you're using companies, or if anybody's using the advisor add-on, it would say company / or household / company. When you're coming to this record, this shows all the people that are linked. And this is the really important word, linked to this particular record. Okay, so if I wanted to see the people who are linked to Boomer's artworks, these are the people that are linked right now. But you can also associate people to them. You can tell that these are linked because they have the same company name here, but you can associate. Now remember last week, I showed you in the advisor template that you had relationships and that you could actually link a contact to another, so they could be trusted advisors or centers of influence, and you could link them to, or they could just be anybody you wanted to link to. The problem is when you link it, you're only linking, that's not a word, linking it to this individual. So when I link somebody to this person, it's person to person. But if I want to associate an individual to an organization, I can do it this way. So let's just go over to, let's go back to companies, and let's pick somebody here. Circle Photography. Let's say that they have a consultant, and that consultant is, let's just go find somebody that we can use for a consultant. Let's use Rose from River Raft Tours, and so we want to associate her to that particular company. So what we do is we go over here to groups and companies. Okay, mine's just mine coming up here. Hang on, come on, refresh. Okay, I'm going to do it right off of here. And then you'll see, I'm not even going to look at that screen. Then what you do is you're going to go over here to change this from groups. You're going to change it to companies. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go add remove. And then this will list all the companies. So you can go into company list, and then you can just type in circle, or I can just go down here to circle. This is really small. There we are. Double click. Or you can just click the little arrow there. So it's now popped over there. Press OK. Now when I go back over to my companies, you'll see here that you've got Circle Photography, and then I've got River Rat Tours associated. And you can have as many individuals associated to a company as you want. So you could have, like we use this all the time where we want to know the person's IT, who the IT person is, who the, I may have different people, maybe there's coaches or consultants that are working with that particular client and we're working with them. So I can associate these people too. And then I can associate them to other people and maybe we have contractors that we work with and we associate as well. And so even though they don't belong to that organization, I can associate them to them. So if I ever have to go and look and say, well, who's that consultant for that organization? I don't want to go and find an individual and go hunt through the relationships to try to find that because I don't know who it's linked to. I can just go to the organization and then I can see who that's associated with. And so that would be the one way of get a little bit of a lift up on a productivity for associating people to contacts. The last one that I want to show you, if I have it. Do I have it? I have it. Now, this productivity hack is an add-on, okay? So there is a cost to it for people who don't have the advisor add-on. This is a separate little add-on called the Archiver. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I'm getting people saying, I've got all these people, and how do I get rid of some of these people? And I've mentioned this before in previous ones where you can use this, but I'm just going to quickly show it to you again, that you can archive people. And it's a productivity hack to keep your database clean, but also so you don't pull up that individual when you don't need to when you're doing a search. And the quickest way to kind of explain this is just right over here. You'll see this little box. Once you've had it installed, you'll see this little banker's box here. And if I wanted to archive rows here, I could just click on the banker's box and said, would you like to archive rows? And you'll notice I'm at 107 records and press yep. and now I'm down to 106. Now she's still in the database. She's just not available any longer to my eyes. But if I click on here, this little one just to the right here, and there's no tooltip coming up. Is there a tooltip? Yeah, there's a tooltip there. Okay, yeah, show archive contacts. And then you'll see up here in the top right-hand corner, it says archive contacts. I'm going to make this screen a little bit bigger so I can work off this. There we go. Sorry, I'm just adjusting some stuff here so I don't get the latency. And then so I'm in this archive view, and then what I can do here is I want to see everybody who's archived. Well, there's only one person archived, and that's Rose. So I'm going to go back over to the other one, and I'm going to change the view back to the normal view, and I'm going to go archive. Let's just archive a bunch of people. These people are, I no longer want them in my regular screen. I'm going to archive them. Would you like to archive selected? Yes. And you watch the number drop. Now we're down to 195. And then if I flip the screen over to the archive screen, there's the people who are archived. If I ever want to bring them back, like I want to bring Rose back, or Sean, sorry, I can just do that. Click on this and it says, you want to unarchive this person? Yep. Okay. And then they go back out of it. There are other ways to do archive without using this utility, but I'll be honest with you, they're not very productive. And that's why we built this to create the product to be more productive. Before, you'd have to actually create another user account which you couldn't access, and you'd have to flip back and forth between active and inactive, and then you could have them buried under there, but you couldn't search for them. This just makes your life a lot easier. So this is another little productivity hack. What I'll do is I'll add to the comments line a link to view the archiver. I think I have a video on that, just walking through it in more detail if you're interested in that. But hopefully, any questions? Let's just see if there's any questions out there. Jared, any questions, bud? I can't hear you. I think you're muted. What's that? I can't hear you. It says you're muted for some reason. Not sure. We're having some more technical difficulties with, it worked last week really well. One of the questions was, can we show multiple filtering? Oh, Jared's coming back in. Still says you're one of the things was asked, let's see, show multiple filtering. And I'm assuming what you're meaning by that is when you're doing these searches, I'm going to go, actually the multi-filtering I'm going to show in another one, because I'm going to do an advanced lookup. I'm actually going to do a webinar on advanced lookups. And I will show that multi-filtering in there. I just wanted to show you just a quick way of doing lookups, but I will go into multi-filtering lookup and multiple different ways to do that in a future webinar. So if you need to get in touch with me, sorry about that, I jumped a little too soon. If you need to get in touch with me, Gary@CoreLogics.ca. And then just reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the stuff that we talked about today. And then there are going to be some things that are going to be coming up with regards to the filtering, like mentioned, for the question that Scott had. And then we'll go from there. So I've taken you a little over time. My apologies. Trying to keep it within 30 minutes. I'm a chatty Cathy. I can't help it. Trying to keep it within 30 minutes is difficult for me. I will work on that. I promise. So no Casual Friday next Friday. I believe we've got a webinar that invitations will be going out on Monday for a Thursday webinar, I believe. Can't remember if that's all teed up and everything. But nonetheless, our next one will be the week after that. So our Casual Friday next week won't be Casual Friday. It'll be the week after. And we'll go from there. Anyways, hope you have yourself a great rest of the Friday and have a marvelous weekend. And we'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.